Hello, everybody. During the classes at the postgrad students for CQ, I have noticed that some students are struggling with OpenSSL. We use OpenSSL to generate digital signature, digital certificate, encrypted files, and so on. Since I have seen some students, they struggle with the basics, I decided to create just only 3 to 4, maybe 5 small short videos to show you how to create, for example, keys like today. Next video, maybe I'll use those keys to encrypt files. Then later on, we use the digital certificate and digital signature. You can go over the OpenSSL here, and that's the library. You can learn more. If you want to get extra data, you can go to the list from here. Those the command list, the list of the commands which can be used. As well, you can actually use the command lists, which give you the list of the commands on OpenSSL as categories. So feel free to use either one. There is no problem with that. So let me minimize that much. Here it is. We will not use that. However, feel free to go over single commands and see what each command will do. You will not need all of them, but the most to use. For example, you may need to use the Sky utility. We will use the X509 command. That's very important when you create digital certificate and digital signature. The PK utility, the new version. You will need to use, for example, I'm going to show you how to use the RSA to generate key. You can use as well GenPK to generate keys as well. Use random. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes, and so on. You can use the RSA utility as well. So yes, you will not need to know all of them. However, you can go over one by one if you want to. We have as well something called cipher algorithm. For example, if you want to see all the algorithm which been linked as well, the AES, if you have the DIS, and so on. We will use some of those ones, the ES, the top famous one. So feel free to have those the legacy ones, or the DIS or ES, whatever it is. Um, that's the cipher. You can, the same thing, you can use the digest if you want to. So you can use, for example, here, like that. That's give you the digest as well if you want to have. That's the RSA, the MD4, and the SHA if you have some background about that. So in general, that's the basic command you will deal with. So let's start with the basics. Basics means, like, for example, if I want to use, let's say, to generate a key, we have what we call it the random key. So you can generate a random key like that, and you can specify, for example, that's hex, and you can specify as well 1024, let's say. That's like that. So it generates you the key like that. However, it generated the key to the CLI. If you try to find it, it's not. So if you want to save that, I can save that into, I can type it into, let's say, symmetric one dot key. So asymmetric key. Okay, so that's here it is. And sure, I can type the symmetric key dot one. That's how it is. Now it become inside a file. As well, I can use command, which is the gen RSA. Let me just make sure that you get as well. If I type OpenSSL gen RSA and you hit enter, you get something like that. So that's, and the default usually, the default key, I think it's 1024 by default. You can specify if you want the key is 512 or 2048, double, whatever the number you like, it's okay as well. So if you want to pipe this one to, let's put it as symmetric dot key, and here it is, and here, that's the one I have. I create the symmetric key, that's symmetric dot two. Here it is. So now you have two ways to generate keys. That's usually under the symmetric. However, you can use random, that's the first one, or you can use gen RSA, the second one. Either way, it's okay with us. So as you can see that I have two symmetric keys here to create. So what about if I wanted to create public key? So let me take you to how to create a basic. This is how to, yeah, like usually in basics. If I wanted to create private and public, so we will go to the asymmetric. Symmetric key, you generate one of them, that's how it is, and that's easy. So what about if I want to use symmetric key or private key with public key? So let's go over here and see if I wanted to generate, that's gen RSA, and I'm gonna put that out, and I will call that private dot key or private one dot key. Okay, here it is, private one dot key. And okay, so how big you want that key? Let's put 1024. So what that command does, I'm going to generate using RSA to generate a private key, and the length is 1024. And I'm going to put it into a file, private one dot key. I just put it as like that, the name. Here it is. And you can see that private key is over there. And if you want, here it is, that's the one. So that's one way to create using gen RSA. Okay, we have another way which we gen p key. So what that's exactly, that's here it is. Let me just show you that gen p key. We will use that. However, in that, here it is. I think I did it before. So what that key, the GMP key, give me, it give you the options to specify the algorithm you want to use. The algorithm, what type of algorithm I want to use? I want to use RSA. Okay, so what is the optional? What is the key? What is the optional you want? Which means that how long the bits, what type of algorithm you will use. So I put RSA, the option, I'm gonna put RSA underscore here, bgen, can you, and the bits, and 2048. So the length of the key I want to use 2048. That's E gen, and here it is. What about the output? The output, I'm gonna just name it whatever you like. So, for example, I can name it as private SA, just only to specify that I'm using this one, the RSA. So double check the typo and see that if any problem here. So that's the OpenSSL, the GenP key, the algorithm, the P key optional. Yes, and RSA key gen bits, whatever. Here it is. It's hit here. It's been created. Where is that? And you can see that cat private RSA, and that's the has been generated right now. So two different ways to create a private key. And actually, since I have seen that at CQ, we have, you guys know the modulus. If you want to see the primes, because that one of the question was over there. If you want to see the modulus, the primes inside the key you have created, what you actually type. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you that. Let's say I'm gonna use the RSA just to show you nothing else. We have something called no out, and over here the text. So can you show me what's inside that key you have created? Here it is. The coefficients and the exponents and the primes. That was one of the questions on at CQ postgrad students in one of the tutorials. So you can use that command, the no out text, to show you the list of the components of that key you have created. So what I have done so far, I have created keys, symmetric, asymmetric, and I have as well created another key, which is private key as well, but using RSA and one gen key. Okay, so you create private key right now. So that's a private and that's a private key. Can you create a public key? Yes, we can use the private key to create a public key. How that works? Usually, if during the classes, your tutor will explain to you that the private and the pair of keys, they can authenticate and they decrypt each other. So we use one key to create the second key. So they are entitled to each other. So let's pick one of those keys, the private ones, and we create a public key, which is entitled or linked to this one. How we do that? Here it is. Let's go for OpenSSL and RSA, and here it is. What's the N? What is the? I'm gonna use the private RSA. Okay, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that private SA since I'm gonna use RSA already. So okay, so what you want to do with that? I'm gonna use the pub out and then out, and I will name this one whatever you want to name it. So for me, I'm gonna name it public RSA. Since I have private SA, I'll keep it as public RSA. Hit enter over here. You can see that writing RSA keys. Here it is. I have public RSA, as you can see that. Let's go here and see that if we can see what's inside. That's the public key. This is the one. And that's the here, if you want to see both of them, here it is. So you can see that that's the public and that's the private. Here, that's begin the public and here, that's the private. Sure, those two keys are linked to each other. So, which means that they can encrypt and decrypt each other. What we will use those keys for? We will use those keys to encrypt and decrypt files. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to use those keys to encrypt and decrypt files, and as well how to use them as using a password. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.